Now it's time for our 420 Radio News for Tuesday, June 4th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. California medical marijuana bill fails, leaving pot industry largely unregulated. From Huffington Post. A bill aimed at bringing some clarity to medical marijuana regulation in California has failed to pass the state assembly in a vote held late last week. The legislation, which was authorized by Assemblyman Tom Amiano, would have created an agency within the state's Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control tasked with managing all medical marijuana in the state, from where it is grown all the way through to the point of sale. The bill fell 6 votes short of its 41 it needed for passage, although Amiano partially pinned the failure on a procedural snafu where he wasn't given the customary opportunity to pause in the middle of the voting process and attempt to convince more assembly members to vote his way. Despite the setback, Amiano vowed to continue to push his legislative agenda to regulate medical marijuana at the state level. His office is now looking into a number of legislative and administrative options that could theoretically get the approval for a state agency regulating medical marijuana on the governor's desk by the end of this legislative session. Medical marijuana bill wins in New York State Assembly from the Village Voice. On Monday, a bill that would allow medical marijuana use sailed through the New York State Assembly, passing with a clean 95-38. If the bill makes it through the Senate, folks with, quote, severely debilitating or life-threatening conditions, end quote, could be prescribed pot by their doctors. Yesterday's Assembly session heard many compelling arguments for medical marijuana, one of which came from Assemblywoman Deb Glick, who shared a story of her sister's chemotherapy treatment. But an unexpected anecdote came from Assemblyman Richard Gottfried, Democrat, a co-sponsor of the bill, who argued that marijuana wasn't similar to other criminalized drugs in that it was one of the most benign, clinically active substances known to humanity. Republican anti-marijuana hypocrite Steve Katz comes correct from the San Francisco Gate. New York State Assemblyman Steve Katz, an anti-marijuana Republican busted for speeding and pot possession, has changed his tune and helped to advance marijuana decriminalization in the Empire State last week. Katz voted May 30th in favor of A6716, making possession of small amounts of marijuana in public a ticketable, not arrestable offense. In 2011, Katz voted against a medical marijuana law in the New York Assembly. Katz said he broke with Republicans to vote for the bill because it, quote, seeks to reduce justice costs associated with marijuana violations, end quote. Hundreds of Georgians rally for the legalization of marijuana from rferl.org. Hundreds in the Republic of Georgia have rallied in the downtown capital to demand the legalization of marijuana. A majority of the protesters rallying in front of the old Parliament building on June 3rd were young people. Many were wearing green shirts and holding posters and placards calling on authorities to, quote, stop jailing people for smoking weeds, end quote. The protesters said they were not advertising marijuana, but protecting personal freedom of those who smoke it. Labor, Healthcare, and Social Protections Minister David Sergeyenko said in a televised statement last week that his ministry was discussing the possible legalization of marijuana with Georgia's Justice Ministry. Olympic sprinter Usain Bolt in trouble over T-shirt promoting cannabis from One India News. My apologies. Anti-drug campaigners have blasted Olympic sprint champion Usain Bolt for a picture of a T-shirt posted on the internet, which appeared to be promoting the use of cannabis. The world record holder over both the 100-meter and 200-meter distances was not wearing the T-shirts, but posed with them alongside a bed. The T-shirts are made by U.S. firm The Pothead Diaries, whose website encourages potential customers to, quote, express your inner pothead and celebrate our love for the culture, end quote. In 2009, Bolt, worth 32 million euro a year in sponsorship deals, admitted smoking dope as a youngster in Jamaica, but said it was no longer a part of his lifestyle. Minnesota's Independence Party to push for the legalization of marijuana in Minnesota, from Minnesota Public Radio. Delegates attending the Independence Party of Minnesota's state convention in St. Cloud yesterday adopted a party platform that calls for the legalization, taxation, and regulation of marijuana. The plan would put the Independence Party on the forefront of a growing national movement calling for the legalization of marijuana. No one in the Minnesota legislature proposed a bill this year that would have legalized marijuana, but there is likely to be a push next year to allow it for medicinal purposes. The Independence Party has held major party status in Minnesota since Jesse Ventura was elected governor in 1998. This has been your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, June 4th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines and take a look at a new ACLU report on the racial disparity in marijuana arrests. This is the Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.